All right, online blended learning. A lot of you folks will probably know Dr. Thibodeau and myself, or Dwayne and Talissa. We teach in the DLL program at Lamar University. I'm up here in Canada, North Vancouver. And Talissa, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm in Beaumont, Texas.
Now, we're going to go quite fast, and we're going to move through some ideas, and we want you involved, but we also want you to relax, keep calm, and learn on. We're borrowing some ideas. I saw this on that thing called the interweb the other day, and I thought I'd borrow it, but I made it myself. I also want people to know that I think you're all doing a wonderful job. And the research is clear on this. Just as long as you're not psychologically abusing people or physically abusing your students, just about anything you do in the classroom or online can contribute to their achievement. The key thing is to focus on those things that contribute the most. And that's what we want to talk to you about. What are those things that contribute to achievement the most? I also want to acknowledge something. I monitor AJ Giuliani, and he had an interesting post this morning, or was it yesterday? And he made the argument that the bad news is there's no instructional manual for what's happening right now with this remote learning thing. But the good news is there's no instructional manual, which means we can make it up as we go along. It's okay. We're going to be making it up as we go along. And that is a good thing. Now, hopefully you had an opportunity to listen to or watch that change of focus video, because I want you to talk about it. So we're going to break you into breakout rooms. Very, very quickly introduce yourself, just who you are, where you're from real quick, and then talk about the key insights from the video, the authentic learning, the change of focus. Can we do it? Is haptic dreaming? So anyway, so we want you to talk. So Dr. Thibodeau is going to break you into breakout groups, and then you'll get a warning to come back. And when you come back, we'll discuss it as a group. Go ahead, talk.
All right, give me a second to set this up.
Main session.
Hey.
That was fun.
Oh,
It was cool.
So, what did you solve the problem? All the world's problems this COVID-19 is done for, or did you actually talk about the video, authentic learning? Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well,
video?
we did talk about the video.
But watch the video, Kathy.
No, that's what we were saying. That
What are your thoughts?
Reenacted the video.
Sorry, go ahead, Jerry.
I said I had to reenact the video for my for our group.
Oh,
yeah.
You reenacted it?
So-
Oh man.
So did most people watch the video or not watch the video? Interesting.
Yes.
I watched it.
Okay. So what are your thoughts about authentic learning? Does this make sense? A change of focus. What are your what key insights? What's the takeaway?
Chad had a good point when we were in our group. If you want to kind of talk about authentic experience at home, where we can do that at school and try to create these authentic experiences, because we have them at our face to face. But Chad, tell them what you were saying about.
Yeah. So I think I shared it with the COP leads, Dr. T and Dr. H. The thing with everyone going digital right now, we're choosing right now to be in this conversation. Like we're embracing this change. Some teachers are embracing it. Some students are fine with it. But the problem is that it was thrust upon everyone. So you don't have an authentic learning environment if you can't control your environment. So I spoke about in my preschool through 6th grade school district, you may be in a household that doesn't have change for you to make when you're playing, we're playing cashier. They can't go and build something in their backyard because they don't have a dad, or they don't have someone to soup up their power wheels like I did with my son. We converted it to a lithium battery, and my daughter was doing donuts. But not everyone has that, because usually if you're creating authentic learning environments, you're creating them for people who are bought in or have the opportunity to process what's happening. So right now and I brought up equity, like right now we're really shedding light on the inequities in education.
However, we definitely have reached an authentic learning experience because we're in a situation where we're finding out what works and what doesn't work, who's taking and who's not taking. So although we are not equal all throughout, my example would be with my granddaughter. She just totally didn't want to go online and not be with her friends. Like, she just couldn't understand why she can't be with her friends and learn stuff and go to school. Very social. And I said, well, you really can do that. You can hook up Zoom, invite all your friends, and open up your course content and do it together, like if you were sitting in the classroom. Well, that's stupid. That's not going to work. But with her, you kind of got to plant the seeds. And then when she's away from you, so she got to the part where she had to be 18 and over to activate Zoom. So she had to come out and tell me that she was going to try it. So we hooked her all up, got her hooked up. Next thing I know, she's got 15 of her best friends, and they're all doing their language arts content. So somehow she went from, that's a dumb idea, to figuring out how to install it, to getting all the kids on board, and to getting everybody in there.
And Sue, I think that's a great example, but you got to remember, you did that for her. So I think, you kind of had to convince her a little bit and provide her the tools.
I
Right?
just provided her with the idea, because I told her there's Google Hangout, there's FaceTime, there's things she's already doing as a middle school kid that she could enact. But I do hear what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing, because there are kids out here that don't have access to not only the device, but the internet. So, I get it. However, when you start a new job, you have things you have to learn and figure out how to do. To me, this is figuring out how to do. Even her teachers, she's got two that are so not tech savvy. And I'm talking like, I'm not even looking at email. And this one person has sent us at least 100 emails since Monday. And it goes like this: I sent an email, but I don't think it worked. And the next one comes in. Can someone tell me if they got the email? I sent another one. And then the next one comes in. And I'm like, oh, stop.
Yeah.
So, but they're learning, they're trying. And that's the big thing right now. We got to try, we got to figure this out. And unfortunately, it was said in our group, a pandemic is what is making us force this change.
I think what's also frustrating, I think for me, because I do teach like technology and gifted and talented and all of that, and I create all these experiences at work, and then my own children, they're getting just a Google slide with a picture of a worksheet that they're supposed to do, and it's killing me, where I'm creating more stuff for them to do, and not every kid has that at home, where they have a teacher at home or willing to create those experiences. But I feel like my kids are just getting regurgitated worksheets that are blanket across, but the teacher feels but it's online. Like, I took a picture of it and I could do it. Well, just because it's digital online doesn't mean that it's like a learning experience. It doesn't mean that. And I think that's what I'm scared about this, is because we're forcing people to do it, yes, but also they're going to think, well, I put it online and I'm digital learning. And it's like, no, you're not. That's totally not it.
Jamie, would that happen to look like maybe like an example like this, like a worksheet online?
Yes.
Color the S sounds. It's funny you mentioned that, because I had that sitting right here. Thanks for stealing my thunder. But no, I had the same argument. It's not online learning if you're just posting a worksheet, take a picture of it, and then post it back, online. But that's what we're calling homeschooling, online learning, digital learning, and there's so much more to it than that. And you're starting to. I think everyone's starting to see that just in this discussion. Anyway, other thoughts before we move forward?
This is it goes back to something that I remember Dr. H really pushing, was that right now what's happening is that we are with this and like Chad said, we're getting this thrust upon us. SAMR was able to sneak in, and SAMR is the worksheet, and SAMR is remote teaching, not online instruction. And so that's where we're at, I think, right now. And the folks that aren't bought in, just like was said earlier, They're not here, and in reality, and I'm dealing with this with all the teachers in my school right now. You can see the big difference between who's bought in and who's trying to fly under the radar and wait this thing out.
I think you've raised some very important points, everyone, and I want to thank you. And actually, I am getting the sense that I am preaching to the choir, so to speak. Everybody is an advocate here. And Chad, I think you've raised a very important point. Inequities aside, you know, I think we have a responsibility to do what we can. And I was actually looking at some of the data in the Los Angeles County. The numbers that they have there are quite staggering in terms of people who don't have access. And I would argue that that's probably just as bad in your region as well. So there are issues, but we need to do what we can. And the delusional optimist that I am, I want to capitalize on some of the things that we've talked about. Yeah, you're all advocates of this position. So maybe Dr. Thibodeau and I can help remind you of some of the power that we have here. I want to go down this path a little bit further and share a few more things, and maybe reinvigorate your ideas and give you that little boost, that little shot in the arm that you might need to get excited all over again. So what's obvious is that there's no shortage of resources. It's just open your email box, right? Everybody and their dog, from Edulastic, Pearson, TNTP, you name it, everybody is sending you a list of these amazing free online resources, right? There's no shortage of resources. They're stinking everywhere. Oh, look at that. We even have some at Lamar University. Wow. How come Dr. Thibodeau and Dr. Rapnick didn't send out? Anyway, we don't need to, because you're getting them from everybody else. They're everywhere. Every organization is sending you links to all these amazing, wonderful worksheets that you can send out. Now, some are better than others. Some are better than others. You know, people like Koros and AJ Giuliani, I think, are hitting some of the better ideas. So there's some that are better than others, but the issue is that they're actually talking about giving you more of that broken model, right? And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. There's no quick fix here. And there's nothing like this pandemic or this crisis situation to help us realize that there are going to be problems. But the exciting thing about this, again, the delusional optimist that I am, is that I think this situation is going to point out those things that don't work. And then people like yourselves who are being supported and have these wonderful ideas and are looking at doing authentic things are going to be able to actually engage people in a positive way. Now, I want to let everybody know there's going to be a bonus right at the end, right before we go into the last discussion session. There's some bonus. I will point you to some amazing sites. You're going to love them. You're going to love them. And then I'm going to introduce you to somebody that is going to be the most important person in your development. Okay, so there's a bonus. Okay, but so there's no shortage of resources. There's a shortage of focus and a shortage of context. So focus, context. The context is the authentic learning opportunities, and the focus is the communication, is the collaboration. So, you know, when you came back after that breakout session, I can't. Somebody said, "Well, that was cool, wasn't that?" This is what you use technology for, to come together, right? You're all isolated. You're locked up with your kids and your significant others, and now you get to see other people face to face, and it's wonderful. Guess what? That's technology. That's the power of technology. Technology allows you to focus away from those SAMR worksheets and focus on those things like connecting. Hey, I hate this term social distancing. We should call it physical distancing. We don't want to social distance. We want to socially connect. So our focus, technology should help us focus on those connections. And by doing authentic projects, that can help us really create that context. And don't again, yeah, here's Dr. Rapnick. Yeah, here's the evidence. Proof. There's an article. It's in the Dropbox on the web page. 5 keys to effective online learning. Okay, 5 keys. Well-researched, documented, peer-reviewed journal. Authentic stuff. Yeah, do real stuff. Use media, multimedia technology for communication, creation, not for delivery. Students want to do stuff together, right? I think Sue mentioned it took a little bit of encouragement, and then 15 of your granddaughter's best friends were there talking. Yes, that's what we want. We want people to connect.
And asking questions.
Oh, yes.
Schoolwork.
Going along, yes, diving in. Students want to be self-directed. They want to take control. And as teachers, guess what? We're not content deliverers. We're coaches, we're guides, we're mentors. We can encourage people, okay? That's the key thing. That's the key here. Now, in our classrooms, this is what we might see. But the reality is technology-based online learning is this. It's using that Chromebook, that iPad in a real setting. It's solving real world problems that are applicable to the person at the time. Obviously, I'm using my boys as an example, right? Hey, whether you're using an Android device or an Apple device, the world's information is in the palms of our hands. Yes, not everybody has that. There's a little bit of a digital divide, but yet at the same time, mobile devices are actually almost everywhere. So there, it is bad, but it isn't that bad. But here's a key. Here's the key. I want you to just take a second to look at this. You don't want to just get your students to make a Prezi or a blog or a Wordle or an Animoto. You don't want them to just simply post to, WordPress or develop, put something on a whiteboard. No, your learners, they want to raise awareness. They want to start conversations. They want to find answers to problems, right? You want to give them the opportunity to change people's minds. Our young people today are the most socially motivated to make a difference. They want to take action. They want to drive change. And we can do that in this collaborative environment. And what we're hoping to model for you folks is exactly this, Now, what is authentic learning? A lot of you are advocates of this already. Whether you're getting your kids to plan a major trip or an event, whether you're using a social or civics class to have students build a documentary on people in the community, the history, whether you're doing, investigation, guess what? There's a lot of science that's going on right now. You can do a lot of science in the real world today, right? Doing science as opposed to learning about science. Using math to explore budgets. So if everybody is going to be off work, how much money is really going to be lost? Ooh, a lot of math calculations. The idea here with authentic learning is that you want to come up with these ideas where you can make a connection to that real world, and you want people to share stuff out in those e-portfolios. There's a makerspace, assuming you have a kitchen and a garage and a shop or a basement. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have that, you're fortunate to have a makerspace. Not everybody has that, so we have to keep that in mind. When we think of computational thinking and programming, it's to solve problems. So authentic learning is amazing stuff. Now, I'm an advocate of this. I walk the talk. Okay, I have to caution you folks. If you give your students a steady diet of authentic learning, you might run into a bit of a challenge. They might not ever grow up, and their projects become very, very expensive. And you know what? I'm living evidence of this. My boys are still riding bikes. They haven't grown up, and guess what? They're still playing with cars, right? But the difference is they're getting paid to do those things. So if you want to actually prepare them for life, those authentic learning opportunities can make that world a difference. Isn't that an amazing picture? Anyways, real stuff. I believe this. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to go back and talk about what authentic things can you do. Yes, the disparity aside, what authentic things can we do? Explore, experiment, brainstorm. So we'll break you out, talk about this. We'll come back and we'll share some of the ideas. Okay, talk.
So at this time, I'll open all the rooms. We'll be away for a few minutes, and we'll come back.
I just love how that cuts off.
I know, right?
Yes, it was in the middle of my phrase.
I like it. Teachers know more than the kids.
So what projects, what ideas did you come up with? How can you incorporate authentic learning into what you're doing?
I hear crickets.
Unmute maybe?
I'll go. I think I'm not sure if Brent works in an elementary school, but Althea works with preschool through second graders, and I believe Jamie works with lower elementary as well. And my only comment was I'm bought in. I'm a believer. I live it. I do it. I think the one thing that we all have to look at is all of your examples were geared towards middle school, high school, or collegiate. or adult learners. And I really don't think you can ask a 5-year-old to create an authentic learning environment without real support from a parent, guardian, or older sibling and things like that. So in the current situation that we're in, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm okay with a digital worksheet, because my daughter, if she has to color in a 10 frame and take a picture and hand it back in, that's okay. Because that's what they would do in school, because it'd be tactile, it'd be with an adult or with support. So I think the tricky part is, how do we worry about half our student population? We can't just worry about the older kids.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and it's totally, you have to take equity out of the situation. But I can remember taking a bunch of kids with tablets and photos, little kids, 5 and 6 year olds, and we went on a safari. So we went out in the backyard. It's a wooded area, and they had to take pictures. And then they brought them into, it was Adobe Voice at the time, and they narrated what they found and what they saw. So if you could switch that around a little bit more to some kind of content that we want them to learn, Adobe Spark for a 5 and 6 year old, after you show them the first time, that's a great tool for, demonstrating what you know, or putting a story together.
Yeah, I agree, but I can't teach some teachers how to use Adobe Spark.
I don't worry about the teachers. I go right to the kids.
Yeah. No, I understand, but are you gonna do that through a video? Or are you gonna, like, we're not working with kids?
Well, no, that's not true. I have a whole bunch of them that I work with, 5, 7, 8 year olds. However, if I was in the environment where I had to do this, I would start, Stefan gave me the best word, crowdsourcing. I'd start with some middle schoolers making video, Spark, storytelling type video for the little kids. And then the little kids going back at them, almost like pen pals, and going back and forth. Now they have a little bit of structure, not adult, do this, but they have the kids to the kids. And I would start that movement that way, just watching the way my granddaughter started with Zoom.
Yeah.
Kids will teach each other.
I think the tricky part, I know you said throw equity out, but every example you just gave requires equity of devices. Like my kids would all have to have an iPad, know how to get on that iPad, have internet access, be able to navigate it completely.
How about cell phones? Do we have cell phones that take photos?
I don't want to get in an argument, but
no argument. We're having a conversation.
5 and 6 year olds, they may get on a cell phone, they may know how to take a picture, but we're asking them to do things that I don't think should be required of young kids.
So I have to piggyback on something really quick. When you mention the 10 frame, and you don't mind that, you said the words "with support." So I think that one of the things, let me give you an example. I have a 5 and a 6 year old. My 5 year old goes to a preschool enrichment center. His teacher, I don't think she's certified, because it's a preschool, but it's a kind of a, part of an extension of the school. But she's actually just got on Facebook and started pushing some really simple things like blue, what is it? You guys may have seen it on Facebook, blue painter's tape, and making shapes out of it and coloring it with chalk. And she's pushing things that are very easy for kids to be able to do. Building your own, and granted, they did like a letter V was last week, so they had a little stick that the kids would find outside, make a vase out of that. It was like a shape of a V, a stick outside, and then just put some weeds, some flowers in the middle of it for vase. So these were little simple things she was pushing on, and all that really needed was a cell phone. Another example, my 5 year old, I hand him the remote for DirecTV. This is crazy. I can't believe this myself. I handed him the remote for DirecTV. He said, here's the word guide, here's the word list, right? Because he can't read yet. And he is over there controlling the DVR and how to find his own recordings. He gets TOTS. So I just showed him guide and list, and he's able to figure out what shows he wants where. So I don't know that, yes, they do need some support, but if they have a phone and teachers are pushing a few resources and parents are connecting that back with kids, I think for the little ones, that could work. And I'm okay. I'm okay with what Sadie, what she's doing and what other kids are doing that's worksheet based. But to me, that's not something that's going to be long term. And if they're going to have support with a 10 frame, they need to, we need to be able to use tech as a tool to engage them and not just feel like it's, kind of recipe of, regurgitation of content. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm bought in, but
yeah.
You're a parent that gave your kid a cell phone. I'm sure I have dozens of parents in my school district that their kids are playing outside right now when they're supposed to be socially distancing.
He had a remote, not a cell phone.
The cops in New Jersey are driving around breaking up groups of kids.
Oh my!
Like it's not really.
I also think that for me, the same thing that with the worksheets and things, if I'm the one checking the answers, I'm the one making sure they're correct.
Yeah.
They're not getting immediate feedback or positive feedback from their teacher.
No.
Their teacher hasn't seen anything that they've done except for I've taken a picture of their artwork and I put it on the Google Classroom. But I haven't gotten any good job, Sergio, good job, Aviana, nothing except for me doing it. And I feel like if I'm not the one encouraging my own children to branch out, that's where it gets lost, where that remote learning, it's okay, like I said before, you put that worksheet up there. Okay, I'm checking off the boxes and I put it up there for the kids, but are they really learning? What are they learning? I don't know. So that's where I find it's not the immediate feedback, that digital learning, that being around people, that social, is getting that immediate feedback and connection with somebody that you're right, and the kids would feel excited if they were able to connect a little bit more with us through that way, I think.
The district where I'm at, they're using Seesaw.
Yeah, I love Seesaw.
Okay, and it has a journal.
Yep.
It has an inbox,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has activities.
Mm-hmm. It's
and
very good.
The child is communicated in the inbox with only 1 or 2 activities a day. They go to the activity section and hit it, do the 2 activities and post it to a journal. And that's all they do a day is 2. So because they're so young, they just limit it to a few because it's so new. But I noticed after helping them through it, and I'm gonna be quick, that the repetition of coaching them how to use it, one kid, I don't coach at all. He just does it. The other, they're learning and they're getting used to it. And it gives them an opportunity to actually repeat. And once they repeat enough, I notice I'm not having to actually sit on the side of them, and they're doing their work, and then they only call if they're stuck for me to help them. So it requires an initiation of use by an adult or a coach. Is that right, Dr. Arapnik? Coach?
Yep.
I'm just a coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, this is your time. This is a time of our meeting where we keep on going on this. I want to hear more ideas. We have some challenges, but we also have the fact that there's some really amazing, interesting things going on. And yeah, equity issues, those things are things we're not going to get away from. But at the same time, we're hearing that maybe a little bit of effort, a little bit of coaching. Now, Chad, I do want to respond to one thing, and then I'll turn this back to you folks, is that you're saying that, I've got some teachers that I need to teach how to do that. Well, that's kind of a problem. If you have to teach them how to use something like Seesaw or Zoom, they're not really engaged. I'm sorry. You don't need to be trained how to use an iPhone. You don't need to be trained how to use Zoom. And if teachers are expecting that, maybe move on to somebody else. That's a reality. I know that's a problem, right? So Juan gave me a thumbs up on that. So what we're doing here is that we brought everybody together to explore these ideas. This is great. So I'm going to stop. More ideas, more stuff. So seesaw, experimenting with different things, using the twigs out from, the backyard, keeping kids away from the police and breaking up the gangs, other groups, other ideas. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I kind of want to point to, if that's okay, to Jamie in this instance, because she does have, we kind of chatted a bit before this, she does have an example and wanted to share with you a few things, and then I'll talk a bit about her. But Jamie, did you want to go ahead and share the example and what you've been doing, what you've been planning, and how that's been going for you, and how you connected that to digital learning?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that I've done in my district was I was able to, I became the technology teacher. I had an underutilized lab, which is just a bunch of computers in it and a printer, and nothing really was going in there. And anything that we did, it was always just word processing. So, I came to the job and I realized we needed a space for the kids to really come in and be able to kind of build and do things and do hands-on things that necessarily they can just connect with stuff that they're learning in class. So I wrote a grant with a bunch of colleagues of mine, and we ended up winning a $15,000 grant that we were able to build a STEAM lab in one of the schools. We was able to launch that, and then I was able to launch others in the 2 elementary schools. I run 2 of them, but all 3 elementary schools got 15 grand because of the lab. And it was through that and through creating an innovation plan for myself that I realized that I needed to have a focus on what I really wanted the outcome of the students to learn and how I wanted that authenticity of that room to look. Ashley Lowe is in the group now. She is a 4th grade teacher I work with. And we try to, when we work together, a lot of it is more so like, I always ask what like she's doing in her class, and any way that I can support her in the lab, because I would love it to be more of a blended, online blended learning kind of experience where I'm able to kind of give content, flip it a little bit. I don't want them coming to the lab and me having to instruct them what to do and waste time. They only get to be with me 1 period a week. If they're lucky, they can block maybe 2, but I want it to be there, like give that all those instructions beforehand, and hopefully when they come in, they can get right to that authentic learning tasks. It's still a work in progress. We are, always trying to find, there's always challenges, whether it be content, getting those things done, coming in, standards, those are always the issues, and just time and materials, always replenishing those things. But it's been really successful in the 2 schools that I work at. I try to focus on the learner and how I can create those environments for them, and I allow them to make choices too. Especially when I work with my gifted and talented group, that is where I can really kind of say, here are all the things that we have here. What do you think? What do you want to do? And like, I want to explore a 3D printer, but what do you want to use it for? And then they kind of talk about how they wanted to create it, create like something where they can have, something to hold, something that's been bothering them on their desk. Or we have a problem with a pollution in our lake, and they wanted to create like a scooper to scoop out all the, seagulls, the dump is near there, and the seagulls are, going to the bathroom there. How to create something to make it less polluted in one of our Pine Lake Park lakes. So, that's where it comes in for me. It's just the innovation of creating the space for them to do that, and then getting the teachers on board to believe in it too. So, as well.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking about this being a conversation starter, if you will. Jamie's one of our communities to practice leads, and she helped us, co-write a grant and write part of our book and a few other things, white paper and a few things. And I was hoping this would kind of drum up, and this actually has, I see the chat box is going crazy here. So feel free to pick up the mic, share your experience, ask your questions. This is your time. And we have several COP leads, communities of practice leads here, who are willing to answer some of those questions as well. So feel free to pick up the mic. And Jamie, thank you for sharing your story.
So Jamie, what you're doing is it's not completely digital, but it's blended learning?
Yes, it's blended learning. I really try to like I have in my lab robots, 3D printers, I have computers, iPads, Legos, little bits. I mean, I have the works of things. Here's the thing: you can buy all that stuff, it can be on the shelf, and it can stay there. You know, and that's one of the issues you can have. You know, you'd be like, well, we bought all these great things, but no one's ever using them. And so that is the challenge where I always go, let's get them in the hands of kids. Sometimes I don't even know personally what to do with certain things. Sometimes I just give them to the kids and I go, have fun. Let's like, what do you figure? Let's tinker with this and let's figure out something to do with it. I don't know what to do with it right now, but I bought it, you know, got the grant. So sometimes in those moments, you find that kids create some cool stuff that you might not be surprised. You're like, I didn't realize I could use it that way. It's on. I don't like. Although I'm I like certain things a certain way. When it comes to teaching, I'm a facilitator more than I am the sage on the stage. I don't like to dictate to them what to do. I kind of give them the guidelines of what I want, but then I let them go.
Cool. Juan, you had a question? Juan, I noticed you're muted, Juan.
Yeah, hello. I'm trying to zoom on my iPad and see how it works. I'm still like struggling and trying to figure out ways. But thank you for doing this. It's really helpful to at least I can talk for me. It's listening to other people, having their struggles and everything. What I can say and sorry and share is that I have had some struggles with my campus. I haven't been able to stay ahead of the game because I have tried some stuff and they tell me, hey, not that way, stop, no, this is not the way. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. So what I'm trying to do is do what I've been learning with you both docs is focus on the learner. And Dr. Harabnik, you told me in Arizona that, and I agree with you, is that technology is just a tool. And on my portfolio about talking about the new digital learning environments that is going on, is that reading the book and everything. I think that all of us that we are in this project, we are passionate about what we are doing and we care about the kids. And all of these things are tools to get where we want to go. And listening to these maker spacers and asking a parent to record a student doing a V-shape or doing an experiment or something and share with the class to be creative and let the students to create. I think that's the most important about all of this. Like Jamie was saying, you can have the robots there, but if you don't let the kids use them or you don't let them use their minds to try to figure out things, that's a problem. And like Dr. H said right now as well about if the teachers need training on Zoom or something like that, is that they are not willing to do that, and I'm struggled that a lot. And I was talking with Mike, and I want to share this with you, is that sometimes I don't know who else feels like this, but I feel really frustrated that I'm willing to do things for the kids, and this is going to help the school, the teachers, the kids, and I run into roadblocks. So what I want to share is how I figure it out a little bit, at least to not be that frustrated. Follow Dr. Tibido's tips and tricks, is focus on one kid at a time. One kid, and then 4 kids, and then 8 kids, and focus little by little. And that's what I've been doing and has been working for me. I have reached out with so many kids. I've been using the Spherobots, and my kids understand X and Y. Even I'm a reading teacher, I'm a 6th grade teacher, and I'm teaching math and angles and all of these. And that's what I wanted to share and to tell everybody. We are there. We are trying our best. The moment we are here in this conference right now, participating, that's a big kudos for everybody. And some kids, I have kids that they haven't logged into Schoology. I'm using Schoology. I'm pretty sure, like Chat said, they're playing around or with other kids in the school. And so, but we are here. So basically, I want just to say that I think we are what we need to do. And technology is a tool. Just remember that it's a tool. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Juan. I really appreciate it. You're not alone, Juan. And listen, remember, we're changing the world one learner at a time. So it's a good start. But actually, it looks like you're doing more. You're saying 2 and then 4, and so you're doing exponential. I'm happy with 1 at a time. But you're the math guy. You're not alone, Juan. You're not alone. And I've been at this a long time. And think about this. There was a gentleman by the name of Jean Piaget who lamented the fact that 50 years after Dewey had written his work about learning, that things didn't happen. Okay, so in the 50s, Jean Piaget lamented that Dewey didn't implement, couldn't get a change going. Seymour Papert in the 90s lamented the fact that we didn't get constructivist-based learning going in the 90s. Dr. Thibodeau and I are lamenting that right now. But at the same time, we've made a lot of progress, right? We're hearing things. Kids playing with Seesaw, you doing different things. Listen, if we can impact those lives and we can ignite that spark within 1, 2, or 3 and work with those teachers who are willing to work with us, hey, we're going to change our little space of the world. And that's all that we can ask of you. So thanks. Back to you folks. More discussion. Before I talk about the bonus, we'll talk about the bonus right at the end.
Well, one thing that I just got out of what Jamie said was that I think a blended learning format is more conducive in teaching younger kids, because everything, a lot of the hands-on really reinforces concepts that may be within the curriculum of learning. And I think that format works for me here, because when it's not pandemic, I do use digital content along with the thematic units, and then we do some like making a bean plant in a cup with a paper towel. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you can get more authentic learning opportunities with a blended learning format for younger children.
And something I do in the lab is station rotations. I do that with the lab where I'll start with just dabbling in some things, and then sometimes after I'm done dabbling with the stations, maybe the next week or the next 2 weeks, I would make more of a focus where now we're going to use the one thing we kind of tinkered with, and now I really want to see a true kind of project come out of it as well. So again, if I had more time with the kids, that would be awesome. Like I always think about, that's a scheduling thing too. I almost wish like I had 5th graders and then 4th graders, like 1 marking period only, where I can really kind of see things through. I do work at 2 elementary schools, so the lab is open for me on Monday, so the kids can go in there on Mondays and Tuesday mornings when we were at school. But it was interesting that a lot of them didn't take advantage if I wasn't there. They weren't going into the lab. I set things up. I helped train staff. They still weren't going in there to do some things without me there. And that's my focus now, is how to get them in there when I'm not there. Because they'll go in there to print papers, all their writing materials that they have to put in the writing portfolio, but they don't use the lab the way that I would use it if I'm physically there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everyone, and I want to respect everyone's time here. And we've got about a minute left. And so, listen, we've just started this conversation, and Dr. Thibodeau and I are looking to do more of these. And so we've exposed you to online blended learning. We had you watch a video. You're breaking out and talking. This is what technology is used for, right? And there's me using my hands. I apologize. That's the way I am. Now, here's the bonus. I want to show you the bonus, right? This is really important. Here's the bonus round that I was promising everybody. So there are a couple of sites that I think will be extremely important for you to pay attention to, okay? These are bonus sites. Okay, so and all of a sudden, oh, there we go.
I thought we needed a drum roll. We didn't need a drum roll.
Okay, there's this thing called Google. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
wow.
Before this pandemic hit, you could type a question in there and it would give you almost any answer. And then if that one didn't work for you, there's this other thing called YouTube, where, you know, people make all these videos, they put them up there, and you can find all these resources, right? Okay, now, a little bit of humor. Now, I want you to take a look at the most important person that can influence what you're doing. Yeah, go look at a mirror. You might feel like a pawn in the system, but the reality of it is you can function like a queen and move anywhere. Don't let the system treat you like a pawn when you can actually function as a queen and move absolutely everywhere.
Or a king.
Or a king. Well, no, the queen's got more movement.
Well, we want to be, yeah.
Okay, we'll be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, you know, we'll send out a link. You've seen our book and our contact information, but this is where we wanted to go today. I want to thank everyone, and it's been an honor to meet up with everybody again. We're about a minute over time. I apologize for that. We look forward to doing another session probably in a couple of weeks. We'll send out an email and see if we can get another conversation going. We'll probably be talking about feedback and a few other things. We want everybody to stay safe. So thank you so much. Talissa, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I'm going to send out in that email, we'll have a Flipgrid, a link to a Flipgrid. We want to get your feedback on the session. Again, this is one of many, and we want to have, we want this to be meaningful and impactful. So we definitely look forward to your contribution to that. Okay, that was it.
So much.
Thank you all so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Good idea, Dr. T, Dr. H.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.